Welcome back, everybody, to The Deep Dive. This time, we're going to be analyzing expert opinions on the recent Liverpool-Brentford match. But don't worry, we're not doing a play-by-play recap here.
Nope.
We are going to go deeper than that. We're dissecting what pundits are saying about the match and what it might mean for the title race.
Yeah, we're going way beyond the scoreline. We're digging into those juicy tactical and strategic analyses from the experts to see if we can learn a thing or two about these teams and their chances of taking home the trophy this season.
So right away, one of the things that surprised me was Brentford's coach, Thomas Frank, saying that Liverpool is just on a completely different level.
Oh, yeah.
He even went so far as to say that they're the best team in the Premier League in the world.
Wow.
Strong words, right?
Yeah.
Considering they just lost to them, I mean, did any other analyst think that Brentford was outmatched to this degree?
Well, it's interesting because Frank wasn't alone in that assessment. Quite a few pundits agreed with him, pointing to Liverpool's relentless attacking, their work ethic, and that incredible depth in their squad. I even saw a few commentators mentioning how Liverpool just kept pushing for goals even when Salah and Gakpo, those star players weren't at their best.
They just never let up.
Yeah, exactly.
Which makes sense because they did score 2 goals in stoppage time.
Right.
So I'm curious, what makes this kind of late dominant win, especially against a tough opponent like Brentford, such a strong indicator of a team's championship potential?
Well, you got to remember that the Premier League season, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
These teams are playing almost every single week. And the pressure, it's immense. So to see Liverpool not only win, but dominate, even late in the game, it really shows their mental toughness and their ability to grind out results, even when they're not firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I guess it's one thing to win, but it's another thing to win convincingly, consistently.
Exactly. And I think that's what sets Liverpool apart right now.
For sure.
You can see that winning mentality, that hunger to succeed is really palpable. And it's not just about the starting 11.
Right. And speaking of which, one of the things that jumped out at me was the number of substitutions. Liverpool brought on 5 fresh players,
Wow.
whereas Arsenal only made 1 change in their recent matches against Brentford. Did the experts think that made a difference in the outcome?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, squad depth is crucial in a league as demanding as the Premier League. When you have players like Darwin Nunez coming off the bench and scoring 2 goals, it's a testament to the quality and depth that Liverpool have at their disposal.
Wow, so it's like having a whole second team ready to go.
Basically.
That's got to be a huge advantage, especially when those inevitable injuries start piling up.
It's a game changer, really, because, look, these players are competing in multiple competitions throughout the season.
Oh, for sure.
And fatigue. It's a major factor. So having a deep squad allows the manager to rotate players, keeps everyone fresh, and maintains that high level of performance over a grueling season.
So they can go the distance.
Exactly. One pundit actually said that keeping all your players fit can be the deciding factor in a title race.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
Okay, so depth is a major strength for Liverpool. But what about their weaknesses? Every team has them, right? What did the experts pinpoint as some areas of concern?
Right. Well, while many were praising Liverpool's defensive solidity, especially the performances of Virgil van Dijk and Konate, some concerns were raised about their fullback positions.
Okay.
And essentially, the fullbacks are the defenders who play out wide on the flanks.
Gotcha. The flanks.
Right. And one pundit specifically mentioned Trent Alexander-Arnold's defense as a potential vulnerability.
Interesting.
They thought that he might be susceptible to those quick counterattacks. And for the listeners at home, a counterattack is basically when the opposing team wins the ball and quickly launches an attack while the other team is out of position.
Yeah, I've seen those. Super dangerous.
Exactly.
But even with this potential weakness, Liverpool still managed to shut down Brentford completely.
Oh, yeah. Didn't allow them a single shot on target, which really speaks to their organization and discipline.
Right. So maybe not a major weakness then.
For now, at least.
Yeah.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on as the season progresses.
Yeah.
Every team is looking for an edge, and if opponents can figure out a way to exploit this, well, it could become a problem for Liverpool down the line.
For sure. And speaking of exploiting weaknesses, you touched on set pieces earlier, and that seems to be something the experts were really focused on.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like in a league as competitive as the Premier League, those seemingly small moments can have a massive impact.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because set pieces are as much about preparation and practice as they are about individual brilliance.
So walk me through this. What exactly is a set piece?
So a set piece refers to situations like free kicks, corner kicks, or penalties where the ball is placed in a stationary position. And that gives the attacking team a pre-planned opportunity to score.
I see.
And what's fascinating is that teams spend hours and hours practicing these routines, trying to perfect their movements and timings to exploit any defensive weaknesses they've identified.
So it's not just about having a player with a powerful shot. It's about having that well-coordinated plan that everyone executes perfectly.
You got it. One analyst said that a team's set-piece efficiency is a reflection of their discipline and attention to detail in training.
Oh, interesting.
Like if they can consistently score from set pieces, it demonstrates this level of focus and commitment that can translate to success in other areas of the game as well.
I never really thought about it that way. It's like these seemingly isolated moments in a match actually require a lot of strategic thinking.
It really is.
And it sounds like they can be real game changers, especially in those close matches where a single goal can decide the outcome.
Exactly, and that's precisely why we're taking the time to break down these expert opinions. It helps us to appreciate not only the flashy goals and the individual brilliance, but also these small, often overlooked details that can separate the winners from the losers in the Premier League.
Totally. It's almost like we're getting this behind-the-scenes look at the tactical chess match that's happening on the pitch.
That's a great way to put it.
And now that we've kind of laid that groundwork, I think it's time to really dig into the biggest question of all. What did these expert opinions tell us about the Premier League title race?
Yeah.
Is this Liverpool's year?
Right.
The million-dollar question.
That is the question, isn't it? And we will get into that right after a quick word from our sponsors.
All right, so before the break, we were talking about set pieces and how impactful they can be in those tight matches.
Yeah, those small moments can really make or break a game.
Exactly. And, I think now it's time to tackle that big question, that million-dollar question.
Okay, let's hear it. What do all these expert opinions tell us about the Premier League title race?
Right. Is this finally Liverpool's year to win it all?
Well, based on what the experts are saying, they seem to be in a pretty commanding position.
Yeah.
I mean, many pundits have them as the favorites right now, and they're pointing to that dominant win against Brentford and, of course, their incredible depth.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But Arsenal are still in the running too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Arsenal are absolutely contenders, but their recent loss to Brentford and the fact that they just don't have the same level of squad depth as Liverpool has raised some eyebrows among analysts.
I see.
Some are worried that they might struggle to maintain the same intensity and consistency as Liverpool over such a long season.
Right, because it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
So I guess the big question for Arsenal is, can they overcome those challenges and really push Liverpool all the way to the finish line?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the experts we looked at, well, they had some differing opinions on this.
Oh.
Yeah. Some believe that Arsenal's lack of depth, especially with a few key injuries, might be their undoing. Others, though, pointed to the psychological impact of that loss to Brentford, arguing that it could really dent their confidence going forward.
It's like the mental game.
Exactly.
We haven't really talked about that. Did any of the experts discuss how a big win or loss can affect a team's mentality, moving forward?
They did. Several experts highlighted that momentum is huge in football.
For sure.
Like a string of wins. That can create this incredible belief and confidence within a team. But a setback, even a small one, can really plant those seeds of doubt.
It's that snowball effect.
Yeah.
Winning breeds more winning.
Yeah.
And losing, well, sometimes that can lead to more losing.
Exactly. And that's where the manager's role becomes so crucial.
Right, yeah.
They need to be able to manage those emotional highs and lows, keep the team focused, make sure that one bad result doesn't completely derail their entire campaign.
It's about keeping a level head.
Right. And, speaking of managers, one thing that really stood out to me was the amount of praise Jurgen Klopp received for his tactical decisions during that Brentford match.
Oh, yeah. He is considered one of the best managers in the world, isn't he?
He is.
So what were the pundits saying?
Well, they were highlighting how he adapts his strategies based on the opponent and the flow of the game,
So he's flexible.
Yeah, and that's what makes him so effective. He's not just sticking to one rigid game plan. He's analyzing, he's adjusting, making sure his team is always in the best possible position to win.
I guess that's what makes a truly great manager, right?
It is.
Not just having a plan A, but having a plan B, C, and D ready to go.
You got it. And one of the experts specifically mentioned Klopp's decision to bring on Darwin Nunez as a substitute. highlighting that as the game-winning move.
Oh, right, the substitution that sealed the deal. It seems like Klopp just has this knack for knowing exactly which players to bring on and when to bring them on.
He really does, and that just speaks to that deep knowledge and understanding that a top-level manager needs to have.
For sure.
They're not just managing individual players, they're managing the whole team dynamic, they're anticipating challenges, they're making adjustments on the fly. It's impressive.
Wow, it really is like they're playing chess with their substitutions, trying to outmaneuver the opponent with every single move.
That's such a good analogy, and it really highlights why having a world-class manager can make all the difference, especially in a league as competitive as the Premier League, where those margins for error are so small.
This whole conversation is really making me realize how complex and multifaceted football is. It's so much more than just kicking a ball around. There's so much strategy, there's psychology, even a bit of luck involved.
It's true. And that's why I find these post-match analyses so fascinating. They peel back the layers and you get to appreciate that incredible skill, that athleticism, and that tactical genius that goes into every single match.
I am with you on that. So out of all the expert opinions we've talked about today, what would you say stands out as the most significant takeaway from this Liverpool-Brentford match?
That's a tough one. But I think the biggest takeaway for me is the importance of having a well-rounded team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, individual talent is important, of course, but it's the collective effort, the synergy between players, and the ability to adapt and overcome challenges that truly sets a team apart. That's what makes a championship caliber team.
So it's not enough to just have star players.
Yeah.
You need a team that works together, where everyone understands their role and is contributing to the overall success.
Exactly. And that's what we saw from Liverpool in this match. Even when some of their key players weren't at their best, others stepped up and made a difference. And that kind of depth and resilience, that's just invaluable over a long and demanding season.
It's like a well-oiled machine.
Yes.
Where each part is working in perfect harmony with the others. And if one part isn't functioning at 100%, the other parts can sort of compensate and keep that machine running smoothly.
That's a great way to put it. And I think this match, and all the expert analysis we've been discussing, I think it offers valuable lessons for anyone, regardless of whether you're a diehard football fan or not.
Okay, I like that. What kind of lessons?
Well, lessons about teamwork, about strategy, about the relentless pursuit of excellence.
Those are some good lessons.
Yeah, those are principles that can be applied to any field, whether it's business, sports, even just everyday life.
Very true. I'm feeling kind of inspired now. Ready to go out there and crush some goals.
I love that attitude.
No?
All right, well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
Okay.
We've analyzed those expert opinions, we dissected the tactical nuances, and I think we explored the psychological impact of this really crucial match between Liverpool and Brentford.
We really covered a lot of ground. So now it's up to you, our listener, to decide what you take away from all of this.
What do you think? Do you think Liverpool's dominance is a sign of things to come? Can Arsenal overcome that recent setback and mount a real challenge for the title?
Lots to think about.
Yeah, lots to think about. Those are the questions that we're going to be thinking about as the season unfolds. And we'll be back soon with more deep dives into the world of football and, of course, beyond.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep that curiosity burning bright.
It's amazing, listening to all these expert opinions has really given me a whole new perspective on the game.
Yeah.
It's so easy to just focus on those exciting moments, the goals, the big plays.
Right.
But there's just so much more going on behind the scenes.
That's why we do these deep dives, We really want to help you understand the game on a deeper level, to appreciate all that strategy, the psychology, those subtle nuances that often go unnoticed.
And I think we've accomplished that today, wouldn't you say?
I think so.
I mean, we've analyzed those tactical decisions, explored the importance of squad depth, mental toughness, even talked about the significance of those set pieces.
Absolutely.
It's like we've had this masterclass in football strategy.
A masterclass, yeah.
And of course, it's raised some pretty big questions about that Premier League title race. I mean, is this Liverpool's year? Can Arsenal recover from that setback?
The big questions, yeah.
I'm not sure there's a clear answer.
Right.
What do you think?
Well, the experts we looked at, they had some differing opinions, different perspectives on what might happen.
That's the beauty of sports, isn't it? That unpredictability, the drama, the constant shifts in momentum.
Exactly.
I mean, we can analyze all we want, but in the end, it's still a game and anything can happen.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So much is out of our hands as analysts,
Right. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm curious, what's your gut feeling? Do you think Liverpool have what it takes to go all the way?
That's a tough one. Based on everything we talked about today, I think they're in an incredibly strong position. That dominance against Brentford, their depth, Klopp's a brilliant manager.
Right.
But at the same time, I hesitate to count Arsenal out. They've shown a lot of resilience this season, and they really seem to have something to prove.
It's going to be a close one, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited to see how it all unfolds. But before we sign off, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
All right, I like it. What do you have?
Well, we spent a lot of time talking about the tactical and strategic side of football, the X's and O's.
Yeah.
But I think there's something even more fundamental at play here, something we can't overlook. That human element, the passion, the determination, that sheer will to win.
Oh, I love that.
You
Yeah.
know, those are the qualities that can take a good team and make them great.
You're absolutely right. I couldn't agree more. When it comes down to it, it's that heart and soul of the players, and the fan that make football the beautiful game.
Exactly. And that brings us to our question for you, our listeners. What role does passion and determination play in achieving success, not just on the pitch, but in life? Something to think about as you go about your day.
I hope you enjoyed this deep dive. Hopefully it's given you a new understanding of football and maybe even sparked some interesting conversations.
For sure. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep that passion burning bright.